This is the Insta360 X4 and this is the Insta360 X5. So yes, the Insta360 X5 has just been announced and obviously I have it. I've been using it for a while and in this video I'm going to be comparing it to the Insta360 X4. We're going to see all of the differences between the two cameras. Obviously I'm going to take you through everything that's new in the X5. There are some pretty innovative features, and Insta360 has gone some way to rectifying some of the problems that people have faced with 360 cameras in general, to be honest. And you can actually get a free lens replacement kit if you use the link in the description of this video. The first 30 people to order an X5 from that link will get a free lens replacement kit. So if that's something you're interested in, take a look at the description and click the link and you should see it come up. So obviously I have the camera before it's released. Insta360 have sent me this camera to review. I didn't pay for it, so just to be all upfront about that. But you know me, I've always given my honest opinion about these cameras and basically everything else I review on this channel. So the Insta360 X5 features a new larger sensor, 1-1.28 inches. It now has 3 chips inside the camera to power all of the new functions. It has a pure video mode, which is essentially a night mode. It really boosts the quality of your night shots. This is something that comes from the Ace Pro range of action cameras that Insta360 also makes. And now it's available in the 360 camera range as well, so your night shots should look a lot better. And we also have HDR video at 5.7K 60 frames per second, which is a frame rate improvement compared to the last version. Other hardware changes include much tougher glass on the lenses, which is really important for keeping your camera safe. But even if you do drop your camera and you smash these lenses, guess what? You can now replace them. The X5 now has replaceable lenses, something that has been asked for years now. So if you happen to damage or scratch your lenses, which should be a lot harder now thanks to the tougher glass, but even if you do, you don't have to send it away to be repaired. You can repair it at home by buying a repair kit. It's going to look something like this. The battery life has also been improved, also something that Insta360 cameras have struggled with. And fast charging, I think it gets up to 80% in 20 minutes. And finally, there is now a built-in wind guard at the, I guess, the front. Is that the front or the back? One side of the camera has a built-in wind guard for the mics. A new video mode in the X5 is Instaframe, which allows you to automatically capture reframed video without having to do any editing. So I'm going to go more into that later because it requires some explaining. But now let's take a look at some comparisons. So the main hardware change that could affect the quality of your videos is the larger sensor in the X5. It's 1.128 inches compared to half-inch sensors in the X4. So the X5 sensors are 144% larger. The resolution does stay the same at 8K at 30 frames per second, but larger sensors will mean better quality, better colors, better low light performance, less noise. When shooting in daylight conditions, good conditions that are outside with overcast or sunny, then the difference isn't huge because it still has the same resolution. These are ideal conditions for the cameras to shoot in. But you can see changes in colors, the difference between light and dark, which I think in the X5 reveals more details. I do think even in these good conditions, the X5 shooting slightly better quality video. I tried to shoot in as many conditions as I could. And in all of these comparisons, I do see a slight difference. I don't think we can really ask for more than 8K resolution at the moment. I just don't think it's possible for cameras at this size. So any jump up to 12K is still going to be a while away. So the improvements we can get is in color, is in noise, is in dynamic range, and that is done in the sensor. So the sensor is improved and I am seeing a slight difference, a slight improvement in quality in the X5. The difference isn't huge enough, I think, to justify an upgrade just on those comparisons. It's better, but not massively. And maybe I would like to have seen 8K at 60 frames per second. Maybe that is also pushing it now technology wise, but we do get a new frame rate at 5K at 60 frames per second with HDR mode. HDR mode essentially combines a few exposures together and lowers the highlights, reveals more details, makes colors look a bit more dynamic. It's especially good if you go from a light area to a dark area very quickly. It can kind of even out that transition. So being able to do this in 60 frames per second will be great if you're cycling or snowboarding or skiing and you want to maintain that smooth footage with 60 frames per second and have the ability to have that HDR effect as well, which will improve the look of your shots. But the biggest difference in these two cameras when it comes to video quality is shooting at night. That is where the difference becomes quite apparent. Not only does the X5 have that larger, or two larger sensors, I should say, so it can take in more light, take in more details at nighttime, it also has the pure video mode, which I very much recommend selecting when you are shooting in these kinds of conditions. Like I said, it comes from the Ace Pro range of cameras, which only has one sensor. So the reason we can do this in the X5 now is because of those three chips. The camera needs that much processing power to be able to process these kinds of videos, but you get much clearer, sharper, and less noisy low light video. Pure video can also remove glare and reveal more details when shooting around very bright artificial light. So if you're shooting in a city, it's going to be much cleaner, less of these beams of light sticking out of every light source. And 360 cameras, including Insta360 cameras, have struggled in these conditions, and there is a really awesome place to shoot 360 stuff, like Times Square, Piccadilly Circus, Tokyo, Chinese cities that I've been to. They're amazing to capture in 360 at night, but the footage has just been really noisy, or you've had to do loads of editing to make it look acceptable. But with the X5, you can pretty much get some very good quality low light video right out of the camera using this pure video mode. If you take it into very, very dark conditions where there isn't even much artificial light, then the camera is still going to struggle. It is still pretty much an action camera. It has still small sensors. It's not like a DSLR, so just bear in mind the limitations. So I've shown you quite a lot of direct comparisons there. You can obviously make your own decision. I'm going to show you a lot more still, but as of right now, there is a difference between the two. Considering they're just a year apart, there is still a lot of room for improvement in 360 cameras where other action cameras have really stagnated over the past, I guess, 3 or 4 years. So there is a difference. I certainly will jump to the X5 now, particularly shooting at night. There is a clear difference there. But I guess it depends what you're using your camera for. But for me, I use my Insta360 cameras primarily for vlogging, for travel, that kind of stuff. Not so much for action, but for vlogging, it's actually important to have good audio unless you want to capture external audio. And to be honest, I don't most of the time. I really can't be bothered to set up mics and stuff if I just want to talk to the camera in some city that I'm traveling in. Thankfully, the X5 does bring some upgrade, which I am very, very grateful for. The improved audio algorithm, along with a built-in wind guard, makes the audio coming out of the X5 clearer than the X4. We can take a listen here at some audio side by side.
Hey everyone, what's up? I am testing the Insta360 X5 and comparing it, as you can see, to the Insta360 X4. The new X5 has quite a few new features, but 2 of them include a larger sensor, so video quality should be a little bit better. I don't know if we can see that here, but also a completely new audio tech. More microphones, better wind reduction. So this is to see if that is true.
So that video that I shot, well, basically I took the X5 to Hong Kong, and I was only in Hong Kong for 1 day, and a separate video to this, I'm going to make an entire video called 1 Day in Hong Kong, shot only with the X5, and that is going to be the next video on this channel. Also incorporating the kind of unique shots you can only really get with a 360 camera. So check that out in my next video. If you're also interested in 360 photography, then there has also been at least one pretty major upgrade, particularly if you're interested in using these kinds of cameras for virtual tours. Now, unfortunately, this upgrade won't be available right away. I did get to test it for a few days, but Insta360 then said it's not ready until, I believe, June. But essentially, both cameras will still retain a max resolution for photos of 72 megapixels, which is quite impressive. However, in the X4, when you wanted to use the bracketed HDR mode, which is essentially how you get the best looking photos because it combines so many exposures, This mode was limited to 18 megapixels. That meant you lost a lot of resolution, you lost a lot of sharpness, despite the dynamic range looking a lot better. Now in the X5, you'll be able to shoot 72 megapixels AEB, up to 7 exposures, combined HDR, so it's going to be a lot better. And in the one photo I took before they took it away for a couple months, it did work really well. And these are shot in RAW as well, so these are around about 400 megabytes per photo, so this isn't for everyday use, but if you were to use it for virtual tours or some kind of semi-professional setting, it's definitely going to be a better camera for that. But otherwise, the photo options pretty much remain the same. It does take about 60 seconds to shoot one of these photos, but yeah, it's worth it, I think, especially if you're going to use this in any kind of professional way. So those are the main upgrades when it comes to photos and videos. I think it's pretty good. I think, especially shooting in low light, there is some big improvements. The downsides, I would say, I'm a bit disappointed there's no more frame rate options apart from that 60 frames per second HDR mode. I would have loved 5.7K at 100 frames per second. I love me some slow motion 360. I think the combination is really, really good. And there's no 10-bit video, which I'm not that bothered about. I think it's kind of overhyped. Not that many people, about 5% of people are going to be using 10-bit video because it takes a lot of effort to edit. But some people may be disappointed about that. But for me, it's the frame rate options that I would like to see. But the cameras themselves look pretty much almost identical. The body's changed a little bit, just how the grooves and stuff, they're still kind of quite grippable. Remain the same size and shape. The only real physical changes include moving the charging ports, the inclusion of a visible wing guard, which I've talked about. You can see it on the front side here. So while the physical changes are minor, it's enough that some of the accessories from the X4 will not work with the X5. For example, the dive case will not work with the X5. There's going to be obviously a new dive case for the X5, but you can use the invisible selfie sticks. Anything that attaches here to the bottom is basically going to be compatible. So I mentioned this at the start, and you can't really see it here, but the lenses of the X5 are much tougher and stronger than the X4, meaning they are more likely to survive falls and scrapes. I've been told that the glass that comes with the X5 lenses is as strong as the X4 with the lens guards that came in the packet with the X4. But it does mean that the X5 does not come with lens guards in the box. The X4 did. It came with lens guards. It was a good addition. It meant that, again, it tried to prevent people from damaging their lenses. Using the lens guards does have an effect on the video quality. It can create some glare. So the X5 lenses have been boosted, so they're pretty much as strong as that combination, but you don't get any lens guards in the box. And like I said, even if you do end up smashing the lenses or the glass in the X5, you can get the lens replacement kits. So you can basically replace your lenses pretty easily and quickly. I'm going to create a whole separate guide on how to do this in a different video, but just know that it is doable. You don't need any super technical skills. Everything that you need will come in the box, but just make sure you follow the instructions and you will be able to repair those lenses very quickly and a lot more cheap than having to send it all the way back to Insta360 for repair. This is a major improvement on the one of the Insta360's main weak points. A lot of the Facebook groups and forums, etc., were full of people asking, how do I repair the lens, and then being very surprised how much it costs and how long it will take to repair. So this should be a very big upgrade. It should make the cameras much more of an action camera and much more user-friendly. So let's face it, this is not a cheap product. Is it good value for money? If you use your camera a lot, then it's going to be. The cost of these lens replacement kits will be $35. So this is a lot cheaper than sending your camera away, which could sometimes cost hundreds of dollars. People who want to take their camera skiing or snowboarding or on off-road mountain biking or attaching it to anything should feel a lot safer doing so now. So apart from a better battery life and slightly deeper max diving points, the last major difference between the X4 and X5 is the inclusion of this Instaframe Mode. It's a new mode found inside the X5. You can select it by just swiping across the menu until you see Instaframe. This mode goes some way to remove the somewhat complicated editing process that comes with using Insta360 cameras. It allows you to shoot an already reframed shot using some of the built-in modes. For example, you can shoot a vlog that tracks your face. And when you've done filming, you'll get a 360 video that you can reframe, so as normal, but you'll also get a standard MP4 that's framed on your face for the whole shot, and that will be ready to upload straight away as no editing required. So Instaframe has several options for creating some basic shots with no editing. You can choose to focus on the front lens, the rear lens, or you can choose to manually focus on one area. The point is that when you use this mode, you'll always get a 360 video that you can edit and a MP4 ready to go as if you were using your phone, ready to upload straight away. I'll also make a separate video guide on this because it is a little bit difficult to get your head around at first. So yes, you can remove some of the editing process that comes with this camera, but for the more advanced, unique shots, you're still going to need to use the editor, either the desktop app or the phone app. And if you want to know how to create those awesome unique shots, consider checking out my Ultimate Insta360 video course. Now has over 70 lessons teaching you all of these unique shots, how to edit them on the desktop, on the app, how to get the most out of your X4 or X5 camera now. I have updated the course with some X5 specific content, how to use the new features, and how to get some truly epic videos. So yeah, this course is growing constantly. You only pay once and you get all the lessons forever. I do offer a refund if you don't like the course. Just within a couple weeks, let me know and I will refund you. And I've only had about 4 people ask for that out of literally hundreds of people who've bought it. So clearly it's helping people to use their cameras, and I'm going to keep updating it as the months and years go on. But we also got to talk about the app. The Insta360 app has had quite a big update. Now this will also apply to the X4 because it's the app. It's going to be used for all Insta360 products, and they have made it a little bit more user-friendly, although it is still a very feature-packed app. There's so much you can do on there, but they've tried to streamline and make it, a bit more user-friendly. For example, when you connect the camera, the previews of your videos will now feature what the subject most likely is. Before, it was very hard to work out what your videos were. They use this weird little ball format, but now it's much easier to see each video separately. And they have pretty much revamped the whole editing experience to make it as easy as possible to get some really quick shots. If you want to do more complicated stuff, that part is also there too. But I will make a whole separate video on the new app and exactly what the changes are and how you can use it. It's still a bit convoluted. There is still a lot there, but I will be able to explain it to you very clearly and simply. If you want longer explanations with really, really detailed instructions, then check out my video course. It will all be there. So guys, that is it. That's quite a long video. I hope you found it useful. That is the X4 and the X5. I will obviously be making some more content on the X5. I've mentioned some videos I'm going to be making. My first impressions, having using it for a couple weeks now, maybe a month now, truly think they are listening to people. They are focusing on things that annoy people about these cameras. So the new glass, the replaceable lenses, improved battery, improved low light video. These are all things that people have complained about and wanted to see in the new update. So I have to give it to them. They are really being innovative and listening to the user base. I would like to have seen some more frame rate modes. I really hope that that is something that can maybe even done in an update. I have no idea. But the video quality is definitely better, and for action shots, now you have a lot more options and you can feel a lot safer using your camera, knowing you can just replace the lenses fairly easily and cheaply. And of course, we need to talk about the price of this camera. So the X5 will cost $549.99, 589 euros, and £519. That is a little bit more expensive than the X4. Right now, I would say this is the best 360 camera out, but there are some more coming. DJI are releasing a 360 camera, and so is GoPro this year. This is going to be the first year in a long time where there is some big competition. So I'm going to be testing and using all those new cameras, comparing them. We'll see which one comes out on top. Yeah, I'm looking forward to the competition. So subscribe if you want to see how that turns out, and obviously loads more content with the X5 coming up. Let me know what you think of the X5 in the comments. See you next time. Bye.